feature called The Farm Gate. I bring the latest news and information on where agriculture is and where it's going to WHOW Ag listeners several times a day. From tariffs to treaties, from the Board of Trade to the running board on your truck, I cover Central Illinois agriculture every day on The Farm Gate. Hear it all on WHOW's many platforms on the radio or online. Join me, Stu Ellis, for The Farm Gate.
Today's morning show can be heard by downloading the free WHOW mobile app in your favorite store.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence, and the WHOW Morning Show streams live to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Ed Shimon with the National Weather Service in Lincoln is my guest on the phone. A good morning to you, Ed. How are you, sir?
Doing just fine, Seth. Thanks for having me on.
You know, the one thing folks want to know about from you right now is Aaron Rodgers gonna re-sign with the Packers? Is he gonna retire? Is he gonna get traded? What's going on here?
Yeah, that's every Packer fan is definitely hanging on a balance there with that one. Originally my gut said he's staying. Just why would you want to try and reinvent the wheel somewhere else? But we'll have to see how. He played close to the vest until the very last minute, so we'll have to see how that comes out. But it'd be sad to have him go, but we'll have to.
All good things must come to an end, as they say, right?
Yep.
Very good. Well, Ed, let's get back to matters that folks actually care about this morning. I'm sure there are folks that care about the Packers and stuff, but the weather, Ed, from February. My goodness, it was like we'd get dumped with snow, it'd melt away, we get dumped with snow, now it's gone, and we're talking about perhaps some more snow later this week. But the month of February, Ed, what did we see here from snowfall to temperatures to all those things?
Yeah, it was a crazy month. I mean, we had another Groundhog Day blizzard or snowstorm, so to speak, because we had one back in 2011 that really pasted the area pretty good with thunder snow and whatnot. But, yeah, we got upwards of 10 inches of snow out of that one, 10 to 12 inches across, from Lincoln to Witt County. A good, that's more snow than you see from a single storm, for usually about every other year we'll see a storm, over 6 or more inches. So we got hit pretty hard there. Mm-hmm. As you mentioned, we did a good deal of melting, temps in the 40s for highs for a week and a half. And then whammo, we get another, 7-inch snowfall on the 17th to say, wait a minute, winter's still here. So we got more than almost a year's worth of a season's worth of snow in 1 month, really, because the month came up to, just over 20 inches of snow for February. And mm-hmm. on average for an entire winter season, we're right around 22, 23 inches, so we saw that in February.
Sure. How about temperatures through the month of February, Ed? What were some of the trends there?
Yeah, we dipped even below zero just for one of those nights on the morning of the 5th of February. And after that snowpack, you really cool off. So we were pretty cold after that for a while. And then we got back into the 40s, from the 8th through the 11th. Another little cold snap there, though, as we, highs were barely out of the 20s, out of the teens, excuse me. But then we really warmed up. After we had that mid-17th snow, we warmed up into the mid-upper 50s there for the 21st and 22nd. Mm-hmm. And it really, basically melted everything again. So we cooled off beyond that, but it really kind of moderated out at the end of the month to, 40s and even mid-50s by the end of February again.
Yeah,
so really a roller coaster completely.
Yeah, it was. And I remember talking to you before February even started. And, perhaps we shouldn't say these things on the air anymore. But you were talking about how we were on pace for a year of record, snowless days. And of course, February bucked the trend and just gave us all we could handle for an entire winter in just a single month. So, but I'm sure that's of no concern any longer.
Yeah, we're moving forward, but winter is still not going to go away. We're seeing some indications of a late week snowy event here coming up this week. So
significant snow.
Well, there's a wide range. One model puts the swath, towards Peoria. Another puts it over Clinton, Lincoln, Bethune. So we're trying to see which one wins in terms of averaging out. But in general, a swath of 2 to 4 inches is going to come across central Illinois with a couple of waves of snow Friday night. So we're just trying to see how that all pans out. But don't put your shovels away yet.
Ed, I got to be honest with you. We're talking about we'll talk about the spring here in just a minute. And for, a few months now, we've been talking about, things are going to be a little warmer than normal. It's going to be a little wet, but it could be a little warmer than normal. I just feel like that keeps getting pushed off and pushed off and pushed off. And here we are, March 7th. And it's like, well, we're going to be cold for a week, but maybe the end of the month will be a little warmer. It's like, I know it's not your fault, but it's getting annoying. I got to admit.
Yeah. Well, we got a taste of spring early March here. It was low 60s on the first, 69 on the second, and then 72 on the fifth. So, we had a little dose of warm, but and then we got some rain. A half inch of rain out of this last night. So,
yeah.
But it's going to cool down, and we'll say another week of winter here, and then hopefully start bucking the trend and give us more persistent warming. But
sure.
Yeah, so far for the month, we're above normal because of those, 70s and 60s, because normals right now are in the 40s. So we were above normal every day but one in March so far.
Well, fair enough, I guess. Again, Ed Shimon, National Weather Service, is our guest on the phone. And again, it streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. So what is the week ahead like, Ed? You mentioned going to be a little cooler. How cool? And, you said temperatures in the 40s. So give us kind of the comparisons on where we should be this time of year versus where we'll be.
Yeah, the highs are normally at this point now in the upper 40s. So, today, chilly 30s, upper 30s, and we do creep into the 40s on Tuesday with some sun, low to maybe mid 40s. Wednesday, sunny, upper 40s, so right at normal. Then we do warm even more, about 50 on Thursday, so dry midweek, which is good because we're prepping up for some rain, changing to snow Thursday night, and then Friday snow is likely as the highs only creep into the mid to upper 30s during periods of snow there. So as you head into the weekend, the high is only 29. That's going to hurt a little bit. That's well below normal because you're talking almost 20 degrees below normal for a high there.
Yeah.
Sunday rebounds quickly though, 45. So, closer to normal anyway. We'll have to see how much snow falls because that high will potentially be a little lower because of any snowpack. But this snow isn't going to last long. It's March. If it's on the ground for 3 days, that's probably all you'll see out of this snow, and that it may not even last that long. So,
Gotcha. Well, what's beyond this weekend as we look into next week, and of course the rest of the month after that? What are we looking at, Ed?
Well, the 6 to 10 day outlook is still a below normal trend all the way through the 16th of the month or so. Most of that will be cooler in the early part of that, the 12th, 13th kind of side of that. But there is hope. The 8 to 14 day is showing near normal, which is, at that point in mid to late March, it'll be low 50s for highs. And, that's not too bad. So we're definitely going to see just a residual cool period here, but then we should warm back to near or above normal, as we head towards the middle, late part of the month.
Will it gradually continue to get warmer, or could we see these periods of, I don't want to say frigid temperatures, but cold temperatures, cold spells, anything of that nature?
Yeah, the cold air is not too far to the west, though. So yeah, we're there could be a little just kind of a lull of some 30s again in March, based on how close the cold air is going to be. But the trends are definitely looking up in terms of warmer than normal as we finish out the month because the monthly signal is still above normal. And as I said, we've been above normal the first week of the month overall. So it'll kind of counteract the cold period here we're going to have in the middle part of the month.
How about precipitation? Just from the weather app I use, it doesn't look like a whole lot of precipitation is forecasted in that time between, other than, a few days here and there. It doesn't look like there's a whole lot of precipitation in the forecast. How about what the outlooks are showing from that perspective?
Yeah, besides the snow event rain changes to snow Thursday night, Friday, it does look drier. Even the 6 to 10 day outlook for the 12th to the 16th has, below normal precipitation outlook. The 8 to 14 day creeps us just slightly above normal in the 14 to 20 of March period, but that doesn't look like anything excessive there. We're just slightly above normal, which March typically has about a 6 to 7/10 of an inch of water a day. So it's not going to be like any heavy rains coming next couple of weeks.
And just to go back to something, Ed, you talk about those snow events of February and, this potential snow we get on, Friday. Just to go back to something we've talked about over the course of our visits together is, the fact that just because, 7 inches of snow falls or 2 to 3 inches of snowfall doesn't mean that that's how much moisture is actually going in the ground. Do you mind just kind of reminding us of that talking point?
Yeah, this time of year, you get a frost depth near the top, and that kind of just allows more of the precipitation that hits the ground to really run off. And even if it does thaw, it typically is a pretty moisture-laden first few inches of the ground layer. It's muddy and just soaked already. So that water, even falling on non-frozen ground, is going to still run off pretty significantly, almost completely for the most part, into those rivers and streams and ditches, and things can fill up pretty quickly when you get a heavy rainfall this time of year.
For sure. But when you get snow, it's not as, again, that snowfall isn't the, amount of moisture that's going into the ground or running off or whatever. So, but Ed,
Yep.
as we talked this morning, let's take a time out and we'll come back and we'll preview kind of the spring beyond March and perhaps get some trends as it relates to, weather beyond that, and maybe even look at some of the wild events of the weekend past. So Ed Shimon, National Weather Service in Lincoln, our guest on the phone this morning. And again, the morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. More coming your way on the WHOW Morning Show.
B.org.
Let's check the markets now on this Monday on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor. Corn mixed, beans mixed, and wheat trading higher at this hour. March corn 747 down 9.5. May corn down 11 3/4, 742.5. December corn up 6.5, 636. March beans 1676 1/4 unchanged. May beans up 1 1/4, 1661 3/4. November beans 1443 3/4 down 6.5. May wheat 1294 up 85. July wheat up 29. 1204 1/4. September wheat up 22 3/4, 1085 3/4. March bean meal up 144, 70.30. March bean oil 75.82 down 98 cents. Livestock market at this hour. April live cattle 135.75 down 2 cents. March feeders up a nickel 153.17. April lean hogs 99.50 down 95 cents. Look at the markets on this Monday morning. I'm Jim Taylor with the RFD Radio.
MR Systems Wireless has an immediate opening. They're looking for a full-time internet installer to perform the initial setup of wireless internet and voice over IP services, as well as troubleshoot and repair wireless and phone services for customers. You'll be responsible for the basic installation and maintenance of wireless equipment. No experience necessary. Includes health benefits, mileage reimbursed. Starting pay is $15 an hour. Find out more and apply by going to mrsystemswireless.com, then clicking About, then Employment. Equal Opportunity Employer. The WHOW Morning Show is now video streamed live on the WHOW WEZC DeWittDailyNews.com Facebook page and on the new WHOW TV YouTube channel. Watch Morning Show host Seth Lawrence interview guests live, as well as watch archived video podcasts of any interview you missed. Whether on Facebook or YouTube, we're providing 2 more ways that Central Illinois' local news station, WHOW, delivers compelling content for you.
Tell Amazon Alexa, play WHOW Radio to hear the morning show and all our programming right there on your Amazon Echo.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. My guest on the phone is Ed Shimon, National Weather Service in Lincoln. And again, the morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Ed, let's take a look at the months of April, May, and maybe even into June, July. What are we looking at here for these trends in the months ahead?
Yeah, the Climate Prediction Center has kept the theme of warmer than normal. We're seeing a signal of 40 to 50th percentile. Normal is 33 across the board, 33 chance of below, 33 chance of normal, and 33 chance of above. So we're seeing 13 to 15% above normal signal there for it. So warmer late spring, early summer, but also wetter than normal again. Still that above normal signal in the moisture side, 40 to 50th percentile chances of being a wetter than normal April, May, June here. So, the rivers are definitely going to stay up. The soil moisture hopefully will be front loaded. And when we get to that dry, typically July and August time frames where the rain's a little less prominent, maybe we'll have enough soil moisture to keep things rolling for the crops.
How about the warmer than normal signal or above normal signal? Does that mean potential for more severe weather than normal? How about those things?
Yeah, typically those kind of go hand in hand. If you've got more precipitation coming in the spring and summer months, it's going to come with some stormy activity. So, we'll just have to see how the jet stream comes into play with those and seeing how much, wind shear and instability come with those. But yeah, severe weather could have come along with some of that. So we always have to be mindful of that.
Sure. I know last week was Severe Weather Preparedness Week. So how about last week and the messaging and some of the things that folks should know as we talk about severe weather preparedness?
Yeah, definitely. We wanted everybody to go through their tornado drill procedures. We had a statewide tornado drill at 10 a.m. on Tuesday, the first Tuesday of the month, when most cities sound some of their sirens, test them out. And we sent out a message at 10 a.m. from our office, live message that basically I wanted families, businesses, anyone that had the ability to just go through their procedures. If not physically go to the places, just discuss it and make sure everybody knew where to go. And just something that people need to do so that it's second nature. Where do I need to go? Boom. I know where it is. It's in my mind in the forethought in case severe weather approach.
Sure. So, and just in general, Ed, a lot of folks often wonder the difference between a watch and a warning. And, you see that watch come through, at 2:00 in the afternoon. Well, it's sunny outside and there's no rain in the area. So they wonder, well, what does that mean for perhaps later in the day? Do you mind breaking down some of those things?
Sure. Yeah. The difference between a watch and a warning. A watch basically, conditions are favorable for the storms to develop at some point, over the next 6 hours. Usually those watches are issued to the Storm Prediction Center with a 6-hour time frame ish. What we want people to remember is whenever you hear warning, you take action. Try and link the word warning with, I got to do something. Because if you get a warning at school, you got to change your behavior. Well, if you get a warning in weather, change how you change your actions. Take action. Save yourself, protect your property, because you've got less than usually. We issue warnings about 30 to 60 minute time frames where storms are bearing down quickly. Things can happen quickly. Tornadoes spin up in a moment's notice, and your home can start to be, compromised quickly. So, if you hear a warning, take action. That's the key message we want everyone to get.
Sure. And I saw that a watch was actually issued Saturday evening, if I'm not mistaken. Some wild weather rolled through Saturday, and then we got some more rain last night. Just what did we see this past weekend, Ed, as it relates to some of those systems that came through?
Yeah, we had some wind damage reports that came through. Decatur had some wind actually kind of went through the I-72 corridor a little stronger than some of the other areas, where we had 60 to 70 mile an hour winds measured from Springfield to Champaign to Danville. A really long area of some wind damage reports came in. So it wasn't widespread significant structural damage. It was mostly tree damage. Some power outages did come with that, though, as trees fell into power lines, and even some power lines were compromised just from the poles snapping as well. So some wind damage came through, though, with those storms this Saturday.
I know that Iowa, and I didn't realize this until you told me, they had an actual tornado over the weekend, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. There was a EF3 rated tornado based on how much damage occurred just south of Des Moines, and actually 7 fatalities came out of the tornadoes that developed that night. So, we always want 0 in that column, but just sometimes things hit at just the wrong time, and people weren't able to have a safe shelter. And but that tornado is being surveyed still as we head into this morning by the Des Moines National Weather Service office to document everything that occurred with that.
Ed, that's an interesting point you bring up, and it goes back to the talking point about, weather preparedness and those sorts of things. A storm rolls through at night. Most folks are, at some level, they've got their phones off or silenced or, something of that, do not disturb on, things like that. You've got, I know for like our situation, our kid's bedroom has a, sound machine in it. So they sleep a little more, gently or whatever. And, so there's kind of that, just that background noise in the house and things like that. So there's a lot of things that kind of work against us in terms of just being notified through the course of the night about a storm. Maybe we don't hear the sirens or something of that nature. What's a way that folks can be, notified or made aware of, inclement weather that may be impending in the overnight hours?
Well, your NOAA weather radio is always going to be loud enough to wake up not only you, but most of the house, because they just have a distinct siren signal. So those are really important to have. You can get them as cheap as $30 at most convenience stores, CVS, Walgreens, Walmart, Target. You can pick one of those up, and those are really your personal warning siren, really, because outdoor sirens are for if you're outdoors. They're typically not going to be loud enough, especially at night, to wake you up. They're just going to be an annoying little hum if you're even that close to a siren. So NOAA weather radio, a key thing that we highlight every severe weather preparedness week, but all year long. It's so imperative because, like you said, you can silence your phones. Those wireless emergency alerts may not trigger if you've set them to silent. So you want to make sure that weather radio is working and ready to go.
Ed, it's always good to talk to you, sir. Thank you so much for your time as always. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, Seth. I enjoy coming on.
Ed Shimon, National Weather Service in Lincoln, our guest on the phone. The show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Network News is now.
The Big 1520 WHOW Clinton, 92.3 FM.